Okay, previously on Togainu 2 True Blood, in the last walkthrough of this one, I got a bad end. Now, well, Shiki wanted this one because Akira gave up, but it is what it is for that. In the slow, this is the unexpected screen. Last time I gave up, which is it was the first ending, I gotta keep fighting. Okay, I'll keep fighting, just in case. With Shiki's gripping at his throat, he wouldn't hardly breath, let alone move, but he couldn't give up now. Shaking out Shiki's hand and had caught at his fist, he had clawed at an arm and was holding it in both hands. If this man were to do him in, Akira will make sure to spill as much of the blood as possible before it happens. Lifted by the throat, Akira was slamming into the ground twice as quick as succession, and the vision shook quietly. Yet still, he tried to claw his arm. Another blow that heavy dull of the pain filled with his stomach. His body tensed and nausea flooded his body. Okay. I already know what that scene was. The voice registered in his Kira's head, and the meaning of this words was lost on him in the current state. Streaks into the rain slipped down to the smooth black coat, scattered it into the night. Shiki having turned his back, casting a glance over his shoulder. Huh? For a moment, Akira thought of what he had heard whisper, but it is no failure to be drowned out of the pitter-patter that poured down. Or perhaps it was just a fragment of the imagination to begin with. The sound of footsteps splashing through the water faded into the distance, become one of the rhythmic din. Slowly, Akira lifted his gaze upward. Such the gloomy skies. The fall of the rain fell without any mercy, starting to already reflect in earth and drain out of the color, and drench him as well. The rain sweeps into those every wounded, every injured pore. Every type of the pain closes inside of him. Defeat, humiliation, regret, anger. In his mind, equally clouded eye, is the figure of the childhood friend fainted by. Overwhelmed with a sudden impulse, he instead to cover his eyes with one unarmed. Defeat, humiliation, regret, anger. The rain, either pleasant or nothing is simply entered him. The next day, sometimes too close to the morning, the rain stops, leaving behind the humidity lingering in the air. The sky was gray and overcast, almost making no break into the dawn. Feels like an illusion. Akira sat slumping against the alley wall and head above. And a single raindrop trickled down from the damp tips of his hair. He held to the tag, loosened it in his hand. It wasn't his. He had no memories. What happened after Shiki's left? But when he come to, the rain was let up to the tag, and lying right at the beside it, he was spawned on the ground. Dumbasses who casted at their whole lot of ride. Basically, they're marching straight to the grave. Shiki's voice echoes in his ear. No matter what he did, he could not shake the words. straight to the grave. He lowered his gaze to the tag of his hand. Tensing the fingertips, he could still hear him now. The memory of cascades painted the ground that during his bite of the Shiki's lingers. How did it come to this? He had realized too late. Words couldn't have reached it anymore. They couldn't make it understand.
違う。
Words leaked out of the squeezes from the dampness of his throat. No, that wasn't it. This wasn't what he wanted to be doing right now. Regret or repentance matter now. What he should be doing was his objective to raise the Igor to bring them down to Irai. Because of it, he promised. He gripped his tag tightly, and the sound of metal scraped against the metal representative response. Defeat Irai, leave Toshima. Together. Raising the Kira's passing to the tags, now warmed by his touch into his pocket of his pants, and it started to walk towards the main street. When he headed to the north, where did he cross the path of the two people Elliot chatted in near the alleyway? He had intended to walk without paying much attention, but there's a pair of stop talking to stare at Kira, and suddenly he burst out shouting.
あいつてめえこの間はよくも忘れたとは言わせねえぞお前のせいであいつがそうだあいつが処刑人たちに連れてかれて
Of course, they're executors. I have a bad feeling about this much.
なんだよおい早く行こうぜじゃないと俺たちまでハートのジャックおいやめようってここ最近豚タグばっかだったからなこの間のはどうせ偶然だろ
Oh boy. Sounds like we'll have a fight going on.
お前立ち会い人やれ
Know what to do now, Akira. There's no way to do something like that.
この野郎 俺の勝ちだ
At least a defeat. That's reason.
くそーくそーくそー おい化け物違う死神だ
Well, that went well for that defeat. Mostly got tags.
あれ
Oh! Turning around the sound of the familiar, high-pitched voice, Akira saw the small figure peeks in and around the corner alleyway. It was Ren! Long time no see. Ren surprised her. Looks and turned into the delicate smile.
アキラ
Oh, thank goodness you're here. Rin's footsteps echoed, letting as ran over to him.
探してたんだよ。今までどうしてたの？つかこっちの方でなんかやってる音が聞こえたからさ、来てみたらアキラだったんだ。いくらだったの？
Pretty much. He looks over at Kira, curiously runs in him, in usual high energy chatter. Akira instantly turned his face away a little, and Brandon perhaps seeing something is wrong from it.
アキラ、どうしたの？
何が？
なんか変っていうか、これっち？
Seeing that red stain spattered into his clothes, Rand's expression grew darker.
どこか怪我したの？
いや。
It was his opponent's blood. Akira was completely
ア
unharmed.
キラ、
Rand stares at him,
ケ
intensely.
イスケ見つかった？俺もおっさんも探してるんだけどさ。
Well, nowhere to found the body fled. Rand said the name hastily. It was a cruelly nostalgic to hear. It was already.
そっか。でも絶対見つかるって。案外すぐ近くに隠れて震えてたりしてね。
Okay. Rand playfully restored a smile on his face. But of the words that meant to be encouraging, they rang the hollow in his ears.
そうだな。
He quietly applied to the return to the turns. Rand grabbed his arm.
ちょっとアキラ。
Yanked back. Akira turned around. Rand looks at the
ア
concern.
キラ、大丈夫？
He did not understand why he is so worried about him. Yet somehow, Rand seems to have understood something more that is going on, so Akira nods slightly.
アキラ。
He'll be fine. Rand's down with his eyes sadly let go of Akira's arms.
それじゃ。
I gotta go. Glanced over his shoulder. He muttered softly, began to walk away. Rand gazed to the board at his back a while, but he did not turn around again.
おっさん！
Upon return to the hotel, Rand hurried to the multimedia was having a lizard smoking on the sofa.
なんだ。どうした？
Multimedia blinked at us, sleepily at Rand, who placed both hands in the table and leaned
公
close.
平とタバコ吸ってる場合じゃないし、バカ！
なんだなんだ一体。
アキラが。
As he stared into the props of himself of the sofa, his expression
あ
sharpened.
ったのか。
うん。
連れてこなかったのか。
だってなんかそんな感じじゃん。
Rand averted his gaze at his voice, trailed off in his scene's trouble.
まあいいから。とりあえず座れ。
Tapped in the cigarette as ash to the floor. Multimedia's mentions of Rand had taken a seat at the sofa across from him. Rand looked at it very troubledly, exhaled deeply, and sat down as he expected his heaviness his
で
chest.、
アキラがどうした？
うん。さっき外で会ったんだけどさ。なんかちょっと変で。
変？
人を寄せつけないっていうか。
そういうところは前からあっただろ
違う。前は寄せつけないっていうより警戒心が強いって感じだったじゃん。
う。うん。まあな。
Nodding a few times, Multimedia looked up to the ceiling and
で
thought.
もさっきのは拒絶されてる感じがした。
なんかされたのか？睨まれたとか。
Rand shook his head.
全然。でもよそよそしかった。俺とも話したくないって感じ。
ま、お前と話したいなんて物好きはそうそういないと思うがな。
はあ？
As Multimedia puffed out of his smoke, Ren helplessly waved the smoke away
うわ
frantically.
くさもう匂いつくからやめろっつうの
I couldn't agree more because I don't deal with smokers.
You know that can relate to that question because
ああ、すまんすまん。まあそれはともかく、アキラのやつはもしかしたらあれかもな。
なんだよあれって。おっさんはすぐあれがあれしたとか言うからさ、わけわかんないよ。
Slap that Ren's upon the remark. Ultimately regained the series'
い
demeanor.
やな、ケイスケのことだよ。
ああ。
Ren's expression clouded, then he looked down and it kicked his leg back and
俺
forth.
も確かめてないから勝手なことは言えんが、結構話が出回ってるだろ。
ああ、うん。最近の無差別殺人の犯人、青いつなぎを着てたってやつでしょ。
つなぎのやつなんざ何もケイスケだけってわけじゃなかろうし、少なくとも俺が知る限りじゃケイスケにそんな大それたことができるとも思えん。だが妙に特徴が一致してる。
でも噂だとその犯人って。
Suddenly, Ren stopped speaking. His eyebrows knitted together, and he pressed his lips together, tasting something unpleasant. Ultimately, in the shadow that cast over his face, silently finished the sentence for him.
血まみれになって倒れてたらしい。まさしく虫の息だったそうだ。
Ah, that's horrible. Ren leans back without saying a word.
やめてよね。信じてるわけじゃないでしょ、まさか。
Now, it was Motomi's turn to be quiet. He looked away at Jins and rubbed his neck. Ren, visibly angry to Motomi, got up to help.
ちょっと
わからん。
His permanent repeated shut Ren's up. Motomi gazed at the series and had no trace of the usual drenching of demeanor.
真相は誰にもわからんよ。まあ無事でいてほしいとは思うけどな。
Motomi closed his eyes, plunging into the conversation.
またアキラ探さなきゃ。ケイスケも。
I don't know about that.
そうだな。
Deep down, they both are negative promotion that would be fair might be true.
じゃあ行くね。
おう。
Ren stood up in his sofa and headed towards the entrance. Even though they separated, they shared the same unease. An anxiety and habit that dumped to the black rain cloud sky outside. In the color lobby, Multime's silence sunk into the sofa and finished out of the other cigarettes. He lost a count on how many times I had that day. He couldn't remember how much he was swinging his fist. How much he had punched. How much blood he had seen. He couldn't remember. Well, meanwhile, Akira's fighting. Got busy to handle this. My work is a little bit uneasy for that. In the middle of May of the spring. Now Kira's got more tasks to do. Alright. Passing by the guarded fountain, he sees in a short staircase reaching to this entrance. The max guard gun points a lock at his piercing gaze into the Kira.
何の用だ
Akira slightly pulls out of the tags and head to them in the front of the guard.
ここで待て。
The security guard, having them checked under the tags in hand, enter the place and the promptly remerge.
いいだろう。入れ。
Akira stepped into the palace and opened the door. Akira stood into the unsettled entrance hall, marksman black and in near front of the
タグが
shadows.
認証された。ついてこい。
Akira's wondered whether they take him into the Arbato. Following the strand of security guard, Akira presented the corridor beyond the spiral staircase. At the end of the corridor stood a back door, slightly sealed to the chains. This was it. I wonder what happened to beyond these doors. Finally, the time has come to the comfort of Uri. The fatal surge and acceleration of braces through him and the thought. Akira was led into the room just in front of the doors in the Colosseum. He remembered it was the room waiting for him when it came to with Kesuke and Igura registration. Just clear my throat. The door opened and the guard ushered him in. Akira stepped inside of the Satarabato, his elbows in the decks. His chin was resting in the collapsed hands. On the simple yet mistakeably luxurious decks and stacks of what appears of the documents and alongside the laptop.
ごきげんよう。そしてまずはおめでとうだろうか。さあ、こちらまで来たまえ。
Abato was wearing a graceful smile. Akira stood nervously in front of the decks.
勇気ある挑戦者。国民番号 11298TM3099。名前は
アキラ。
アキラか。いい名前だ。君は以前にも見たことがある。
Since the engaged and unsure, Akira is like a snake wrapped through his. A sense of dread rushed over Akira. He felt an understood need to leave the room at once and force himself into the door.
惜しい。実に惜しい。もう少し若ければ最高の。ああ、いや、こちらの話だ。
Akira's friend opposed to what he meant. Arbato is casually passing over to the larger to the smile.
タグは正式に受理された。イルレと戦う前に君がするべきことは至って簡単だ。希望日の指定、それから武器の選択、この2つだ。
武器は持ってきている。希望日は今すぐにでも。
Arbato narrows his eyes behind the mags unsteadily.
これは相当な自信があるようだね。だがイルレの都合もある。最短で本日の24時、明日0時、日付が変わるまさしくその時、いかがかな。
わかった。
He nodded and immediately Arbato took something out of the drawer and in his desk.
これをつけたまえ。イグラで使用されているタグとは違うものだ。これがイルレへの挑戦者の証となる。
Akira places the tags, keeping and carrying the decks in the gun, and the one diamond handed it to him in exchange. Arbato stood up gracefully with a satisfied smile, and placed it in his hand chest, brought it in politely.
それでは、また後ほどお待ちしている。
Granted that affects Akira does not waste any time to leave the room. He passed it through the entrance and held to the head to the exit, the person at the bottom of the staircase. There was no reason to significant that the Toshimoto has been changed. But this is how it felt dry. Every breath of his stung in his throat. The glare of the breath to the ash of Toshimoto, reliable light that is saying. Tonight, in the dead of the night, his battle was finally begun. It felt very nervous his body was strained out of the end. He did not want to meet C anymore. He did not want to speak with or even a person by anymore. He wanted to get to the battle without distractions. Okay. With the Kira walking in his sleep, he heard a commotion coming from the main street. The sun's already set as darkness closed the alleyways. He pulled out a communication device in his jacket and confronted this with an LCD screen. I'm not talking to her no more. I don't want to speak. There's only one way we gotta do this. So, better be ready for now, Kira.
ここで少し待て。
Alright. So the tournament has finally begun. Okay. I have learned about this much. Okay then. So that man was strong. I wonder whether that man was this way. Probably not. He was lost in a thought when he was heard a knock on the door. He raised his head. There, beyond the wide open door, stood in front of the portraits are about to.
ごきげんよう。気分はいかがかな？
Nervous.
最低だ。
Seems like. Barely. Curious about Arbato, loving and thinking of his words. As Arbato bowed to him, his head to his chest. Unfazed, the marksman raises his head and a faint smile on his lips.
余興の方は楽しんでいただけただろうか？
いや。
そうか。それは残念だ。
With the tone of the scene, anything but regretful, Arbato reached out of his hand and clapped it into the gloves.
では、これからイルレのもとへ案内しよう。
He emerged from behind Arbato. A subordinate made it to the other door. Behind Akira pushed it open.
彼について行きたまえ。
Akira follows the black subordinates out of his room with as he was told. Walking through the dim, now a quarter to emerge to the dazzling light. Swinging against the bright glare, in the ground of the spectacles of the Colosseum came into view. So this might be it.
ここで待て。
The man said in the left. As the sound of returning the footsteps fading intense in the silence, the start of the dead. After the brief moment, Arbato appeared to lecture above the seat of the opposite side.
挑戦者、国民番号 11298TM3099。これより試合を執り行う。イルレの入場だ。
On Arbato's signal, the gates crossed into the where the Akira stood and began to creak open. The shadow looms ahead. It has to be right. Akira moves forward, constantly one step at a time, and is constantly tense in the run and the vein like blood. However, it is struck by a strange sensation midway. Perhaps he will be call it deja vu. And you're right, and his hand blood is by the length of the sharp of the unescapably of the katana. When the drawn a little closer to the figure, it was distantly invisible to the man in the black coat. Oh, okay. We meet again!
You're dangerous, man. Get away from my life.
You can't! No, 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 no! You can't change my mind! No, 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 no! Not in my life! None of this! No, 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 no!
Not my type.
Exactly! That's what I'm about to say! No, 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 no! Nah, 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 nah! That's all we're saying. Son, he stopped the dead of the truck that was turning on the floor. Beneath the glare lights, there is no mistaking him. Those eyes prism like fire, cold, unwary. Shiki. Shiki stands before Akira, drew his katana, and scabbed it without hesitation.
どうしたこの後に及んでおじけづいたか
I just came back. I have my vengeance. I have my vengeance. Just an act. Words failed him. Akira's mind was dominated by a mix of frustration, anger, and confusion. And his eyes were locked. With his eyes locked on, Shiki pulled out a knife and sheathed the rest of the mechanical emotions. There was no need to wait. Akira calmed himself down. Regardless of the Irai's objective, one of the same. Defeat Irai. There was nothing else. Adopting a little stance, Akira channeled his strength in his feet, firmly gripping the ground. There was no sign that Shiki's was headed this way, but finally taking the stance and appeared almost defenseless. But Shiki's eyes were wary, piercing through to their prey before him. That alone intimidating enough intimidating enough Akira's feeling would be swallowed whole. The moment he would look away, he would lose. There is nothing he can do but strike. He ran close to the distance and stepped into the floor, thrust out of his knife. Shiki dodged it, used to swing through to the rest of the Akira's away. Akira stepped back, and the sword tipped the slicer through the air, barely missing the Shiki. And it touched him, and it felt delirious sensation and heat in the wound. As the battle started, his face gave nothing away. While he kept to the defense, Akira's leg suddenly took it a hit. Shiki had to kick him. His solid blood had dug into painfully at Akira's flesh. The katana cleaves it through the air to strength, barely dodged the blade of the throat, and attempted to regard it to the splitting. But Shiki's attacks were swift. Before Akira had a chance to recover, Barrington had followed to the drone. Damn.
いつまで逃げる気だ
Damn. That's not good.
所詮雑魚は雑魚か
Okay. Just get serious. That's too much. Okay. Be stay focusing while fighting going on. I will not answer that.
お前はラインを使っていない。なのになぜイグラに挑む。何が望みだ。答え。
I will not answer that. Uh-oh. I gotta save. I gotta save. It's an emergency. Okay. I gotta save this option. What should I do? There was nothing. I had no answer. Okay. So, since I save, I'm gonna say I want nothing.
欲しいものなんか何もない。
Good answer.
どういう意味だ。
That's a good question, and continues. And the meeting slowly began to seep in. Shiki's oppressor giving him a headache. Vision buried to open his eyes and gasping for the breath.
俺はあんたに勝たなきゃならない理由がある。絶対に勝たなきゃならない理由が。理由。
It was all the complicated mess of the vision of reason overlapping and tangled into the ball. Above all, it was the keeper the promise to the friend that was already dead. We're going to win, no matter what. There is no going back home together. In the blur of the colors of the distant image, he remembers it as his child friend, his smile beaming of joy. They will go back home together.
だんまりか。
Yeah, I silent treatment all the entire stream like that. What do you call it that? I mean, we're skipping the whole issue here. Who knows? Don't give me that more accurate means, mister. I'm just saying. Anyway. Digging into the head and behind. The hero forces it to turn around. He glanced at fiercely and then merciless his eyes illuminate before him.
叶わないと知りながら挑む。その命知らずで向こうミスな態度。以前に会った時からそうだったな。何がお前をそこまで突き動かすのか興味がある。ふざけるな。
Kick clouded his side. He trembled into the back of the ground, while laying in an empty stomach and a confident agony. He curled up with the arms wrapped around his stomach and a sound of howling and started to sit up, and the sword set cut through the empty air. Suppressing the pain from his body, he reached the knife as been knocked away. The white blade was thrusting him in and blocking his path.
よほど死にたいようだな。
A disciplined voice ringing out his above him. There was no chance of the victory, the one-sided battle, no matter how he looked at it. But still, Akira shot first at a glance into the man who occasionally looked down on him. Shiki pulled his katana in the ground, grabbed to Akira's hair in one hand and yanked it back.
イルレに勝ちたいか。
The voice whispers in Akira's
な
ear.
らば勝利などくれてやる。俺とビスキオは別のものだ。
Huh? He couldn't understand what Shiki was saying. Akira looked at his eyes without
イル
thinking.
レの座などくれてやる。 ただし条件がある。今後の俺の行動に一切関わるな。
I see.
どういうことだ？
What are you getting at? It sounds like a wagering.
このくだらん遊びにもいい加減付き合いきれなくなっていたところだ。
With those words, Shiki released the grip of his hair on Akira's hair. The opposite force that has been pinning down in the lift, but Akira stays out put. He had been told something outrageous, but his mind could impress it.
おい、
When Shiki calls out the man in the mask that eyed him quizzically.
まだ決着がついていないのでは。
今からこの男がイルレだ。
What? What? Oh shoot! My. Damn! It was my leaving time. It was my leaving time work. I'm so sorry, everyone. Ignore it. About it. Robots and subordinates gaps in the confused mutterings that fill the Coliseum. Even in the distance, it was a planet that Roboto was visibly shaken to the core. As Akira slowly rose to his feet, looking at it as Shiki uses his pen.
問題はないはずだ。俺は貴様のくだらん遊びに付き合っていたまで。イルレがこいつになったところで特別変わるようなこともない。
だが、しかし。
イルレが変わったとわざわざ公表する必要はあるまい。今までのようにすればいい。
だが、ラインは。
すべて今まで通りだと言っている。俺は今まで通り貴様にラインを渡し、貴様はそれを巻く。何も変わらん。
In sharper contrast to the Shiki existing attitude, our boss's face controlling wasn't unmistakable behind the mask. However, after the brief pause, he answered the trembled
いい
voice.
だろう。では。
Our boss was slowly raising the white gloves in above his head.
国民番号 11298TM3099 今ここに新たなイルレが
Oh. What? The voice of the echo through the Coliseum was cut off the sound of gunfire. More gunshots echoed outside the Coliseum, closer this time. All eyes turned to the direction of the sound. The gunshot that pierced for the tense in the air erupted to cut off the screams. What was happening? In the eerie silence of filling the area, it stopped and nobody daring to move. Oh shoot! The door Akira entered at the creak opening, scattering multiple beams of the light.
一体何事だ
Everyone was surprised and began to murmur loudly. The security guards hurried towards the door that's been flung open. The figure was standing under the back security guard. Although they're dressed like the security guards, inside the area, the gun almost aiming at them. The crowd guards and the quiet decided out there and they betrayed
何
them.
が起こっている
Roboto sure cried and panicked and echoed through the air. Akira, too, found his thoughts that paralyzed the stunning intruder, yet didn't notice something odd. There was something unnatural about the security guards that spilled fire in the gun. As he had been forcibly awakened into the state of the slumber. Or was it the corpse? The security guard who fired the gun followed to the ground. The surrounding guards reached to the triggers. Huh? It's him again. Oh no. The man seemingly having in a guard at his neck slowly lowered his hand. Soft golden hair, extremely pale skin, clear blue eyes, and a presence that almost seems lifeless. Akira had met him before. The sharp light of the flash racing through his mind. When he saw that man, something stirred within Akira. He knew him. That man. Right? Huh? Sensing the fears and the murderous intent behind him, Akira turns and saw Shiki glares at the mysterious man. His red eyes were filled with a dark hatred and then none is seen before. Not even the battle. In the glare eerie, intense and overwhelming.
お前は待て撃つな
He walks slowly, closer and closer. He leapt to the air. Maybe it feels like an American desert. It seems like it is completely different around. Yeah. Akira saw himself reflected perspectively in the empty void of his eyes. The man blinked slowly and extended one arm. His eyes blinked, shifted to the blue to purple. The man looked with purple eyes. And the sharp sounds of the wind of the being sliced and erupted cut through the air surrounding the man. Startled, Akira turned to the saw Shiki's pointed the katana at the man. Deep-seated hatred seeps into his
くだ
expression.
らん遊びはもう終わりだ
The man did not answer, staring at Shiki with hollow eyes, and it said that Shiki's brows drew together tightly.
その貴様
Huh? That can't be good. His growl echoed through his view, full of emotions, running wild. He leaped at him. He raised the blade, caught to the light of the costume. With all that his hatred concentrated at the tip of his blade, it sliced it at the man. There were no escapes. Everyone's wielded as much, such as the swift as Shiki's movements. But the man was deftly dodged and all, and the sharp of his sword cut through the air without striking the target. The blade shot to the man again and again, and the leap of the dance of the wind, and the man swaying in gentle and dodged to the Shiki's relentless pursuit. Akira wondered what was dreaming or hallucinating. The man numbed to the movement of clearly defining logic.
そうかあの男高みの見物と行こうではないか
About to tears to the voice that echoed from above. He washes his hands, claps over to the mouth of the Shiki to the man who clutched the surrounding guards, gun in the hand, watching it stun the slice. Shiki continues on yelling his speed. Resists the slice of the man with his sword. That sounds like I want to fight him. I don't know why.
待て
Oh dear.
どこへ行く
The closer to the figure that are about to vanish to the specter seat, he was probably coming down. As the time, once the halt of the sprung into the motion again, the guards will had to stand still to begin to move. Akira also began to run. Passing through the dark corridor, he left the costume. He headed back to the palace of the halls. Oh dear. I guess we gotta go after.
なんということだ少年像をしまっておいたのがせめてもの救い
I have a bad feel. Well, that can't be good for that running. The 40 ring starts.
なんだこれは
No, it wasn't all. Oh, this bitch. Even you, Gwen. Not you. I talk about this bitch. Emma. I don't want to hear her. I don't want to hear.
よく働いてくれた。腑に落ちないという顔をし。
トレースシステム。
I knew it was trying to track it already.
その
I already know why.
まず満足。
I don't care. I don't care.
すべてそれはグー
どういう
ラインの原料があれは戦闘能力
All I
当
know,
然危険
actual real name, Nano.
それと俺の血とは
深夜どういう
That's true. I already know the many names of this.
ところが研究団アキラ修正要するニコルラインを使用したものならごく少アキラニコ
そこまでだ。
Okay, please,
こいつは俺が殺す。
please do. Could you, Shiki, please kill her, or maybe in the mysterious one. I don't care.
下がれグエン
しかし
離れていろこれは個人の
知ったことか。俺は俺がやりたいようにするまで。
お前ニコルの服
黙れ。それもこれもすべて貴様が仕組んだことだろう。
So that's why you're going after. I think I get your judgment.
お前が知りたいことそのすべてはその中にある虚しい夢お前にそれをほどくことができるか
貴様どこにいる？
I'm so scared.
トランク
The briefcase from the beginning of this one. That's when he gave it to me.
これは奴のくそ
Huh? What does that mean with the
お前が
briefcase?
知りたいことすべてはその中にある
Cause I don't know, it's something empty or something else. Hmm.
貴様を忘れたことなどなかった。貴様の
Huh?
狂気をあの戦場で出会った日から。
What? I know why. I know why, but you know why. So that's why I act like that. That explains a lot. Want to revenge. Shiki's voice heavily restrained in favor of shook to the air. A battlefield. Shiki had been seen Nono in action in the weapon of war. Akira could not even imagine what it must have looked like. Display. Honor with the white sheet, it shimmered in the rain and the pointed and waving that Nono. What was the lore about? Give us a brief explanation. It was a few years before the outbreak of the Third War during the minor civil conflict. She had been made a name for him in the underworld, and often called upon the military official of prairie darkness secrets in the war zone. Utterly, he received the same treatment and any regular soldiers, but the personal details are submitted up to this. In the dead of the night, she had virtually escaped to the army accompanied upon the return to the grids if it happened. Yeah. Yeah, basically what happened in that war. That happened. That man. So that's why. I get it. Dude, that was all.
あの時なぜ俺を殺さなかった？
With a sharpened gaze, the tip of the blade, Shiki posed a question to
な
Nano.
ぜ生かしておいた？
お前の中に生まれた恐怖を味わいたかった。
なんだと？
Nano blinked slowly. The blue of the eyes hovered as shades of the purple.
絶対的な己の力が突き崩された時に生まれる恐怖、そしてその衝動。あの時お前の瞳の中に見た。必ず追ってくると思っていた。お前が憎悪しているのは俺だけではない。俺から生まれるものすべてを憎み、恐れている。強くあればあるほど、倒れた時の衝撃は甚大だ。
In the thick of the darkness, a piece of the void in his eyes.
恐怖が心に救う限り、どれほどの殺意と憎悪をもってしても打ち勝つことはできない。決して俺には勝てない。
The words of the other were heavily, shaking it through the permitted air like his own gravity, and devoid of emotion as usual. And yet, at that moment, his words almost seemed to carry through the note of pity. For whom? For Shiki? Or for himself? Oh boy. Shiki, consumed by the fury of this, as the heavy words cut through the air of his
くだ
blade.
らない話は終わりだ。
Shiki leaned support into the ready to descent.
やめろ。
Whoa! 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 What the heck? Yeah, yeah, bitch. It's too late for that. She got this.
I have no worries.
Nothing to worry about that much. Why not remember the anime? What happened?
なの。
Hmm.
お前はもう二度と俺に勝つことはできない。
Oh, dang. You will never defeat me again. Those are the final words. How did that feel? It's too late for that.
私が
I don't care. I don't care.
でも。 貴様。
I guess Shiki gonna kill these two. I guess that's wrong, but I feel bad for Gwen. Well, good riddance for this one. I was kind of correct. Thank you. For once, in the bare minimum.
俺はもう二度と貴様を殺すことはかなわない。二度と。
Hearing from the monotone murmuring, Akira jolts back into his senses. Nano divinity allowed to the Shiki to press into his blade, taking his last breath beneath. Even though he definitely couldn't avoid it, by the end of his own life, he robbed the Shiki to the deepest wish. Shiki will never able to kill him again. Hmm.
素晴らしい。実に見事だ。よもやあの生体兵器ニコルをも討ち取るとは。さすがはイルレといったところか。この女エマか。なるほど。
Technically, Shiki killed her. So, in the bare minimum.
もうすぐ内戦が始まると連絡が入った。CFC と日光連がぶつかる。もはや時間の問題らしい。今すぐにニコルの体を回収しよう。そうすれば我々独自のラインを開発することが。
消えろ。
Well, he don't need your orders. Yeah, about. Yeah, he's going his own way. There's no need to read the sentence. I think I'll go let it play out with hearing the voice.
聞こえなかったか。その男には指一本触れるな。
He only preferred to Akira instead. Yeah.
しかし。
死にたいのか。黙れ。
Because you're annoying. He was like, you're so damn annoying. So he's gonna kill him. Yeah. And of course, uncut, that's why. In anime, it did not happen. Gotcha.
持ってよ。
Okay. When I remember that different scenario, Shiki Black drank blood and drank Nano's blood. There is something else. I don't know, he passed out or is still alive. It was a both option of answers of my in the anime and now an uncut version. I just really trying a comparison like that. Yeah, makes sense. Okay, this might be the new one. On the outskirts of the short distance of the city center, a large flagstone rested among the withering trees. Shiki gently placed a Nano down on it. The stone was about to large as a coffin. Shiki took his katana back to the front of his Akira, lowered the gaze to linger the silence in front of the Nano. He must be having attended to his own, and the funeral raised to the thought of Akira. Shiki turned his eyes, settled on Akira. His veneer caught out of the throat and slided his eyes. It wasn't because of the overwhelming this time. The ones that paralyzing glare that it held to the behold of the captain of nowhere to be found. Shiki. He didn't understand, could it have known. That is what it all come to this. Even though it was surely, he couldn't even resist the pursuit, to the ignore to the option. He couldn't ignore to the nameless of the terror of his emptiness. Without a word, Shiki passed to the Akira's side. Akira spun around. In a blink of the eye, the black silhouette of the shadows of the rain of the darkness. Akira lost his sight of him. Shiki vanished into the nothingness. Those crimson eyes were mercilessly scattered at Akira's, resolve lying the bear to the cruel that divided between the strong and the weak. It was the defender that Shiki strengthened that Akira had come to realize his own weakness. It was only thanks to that he had come to this far. He only pulled that it was living and dying under the same, and the first time becoming aware that it meant to the trump. But then the strength was on the brink of disappearing. Before Akira knew it, he had been taking a step forward, one step and another.
ついてくるな。
Oh. Shiki muttered without turning around. Yet, Akira had no intention of halting his advance. He didn't know why either. Yet he could have simply not him and let him go like this. That was what he thought. If he realized that Akira won't stop, Shiki didn't protest again. Footsteps in the falling rain. Those words of the sound resounding of the city is soaking into the greed of his desires.
どこへ行くんだ。この町を出る。
Oh, so you're about to leave.
出るってどうやって？
Go where?
北の路地にあるビルの地下から下水道に入れる。そこから日光連へつながっているはずだ。
下水道？だいぶ前に廃止されたんじゃなかったのか。
ほとんどはそうだが、全てをくまなく潰して回るほど国も暇じゃないだろう。中には手つかずで放置されたものもある。
安全なのか？
知らん。だが、身の安全に関して言うならば、どこにいても同じことだ。
He has a point. Yeah, I trust you on this. I think I understand. Glad I understand now.
And that's the last previous game you played uncut, let's say.
Yeah, it feels like I've been feel freaked out and uncut in this situation. So I think we're going to sewer. I think there's something different at this ending. So I think I got a good end. Oh. Losing one of the achievement is gonna be good or question mark ending.
はぐれるなよ。
Okay. I'll let it play with this. So we gotta go to the sewage.
棚なんか動かしてどうするつもりだ？
この下に下水道へ通じる入り口があるはずだ。
Okay then.
ここから日光連まで歩く。
Alright. So I think I know it's a good end for him. There might be the different endings of this one. I will get to that later what I mentioned. That sounds like
爆発？そろそろか。
yeah, the war started. I already know that same about the sewage one.
理由などない。
答えろよ。
We want to know.
ならばこちらも聞きたいことがある。なぜついてきた？
I have no idea.
わからない。
そ
Yeah.
れでも答えろと迫ったのは誰だ？
俺の血は消さなくていいのか？
So you're not going to kill him, right?
効果は違っても同じものが流れてる。
All I'm saying. That was my questioning.
大抵の人間は俺を見るとき、目をそらして顔を背ける。恐れおのなき怯える。だが、お前は違った。叶わないと知りながら、それでも噛みつこうとする。まっすぐに俺を見る。だから興味があった。何がお前をそこまでかきたてるのか。死をも恐れずに己を貫こうとするその源には何があるのか。もしあの男を殺すことで命を落とすことになろうとも、それがあらかじめ分かっていたとしても、俺はあの男を殺しただろう。
どうしてそこまで？
本当の狂気というものを目にしたことはあるか？
狂気？
あらゆる感情がなくなった後に残る純粋な狂気だ。何も映さない。黒でも白でもなく、そこには何もない。そんな無を宿した瞳を俺は見た。打ち勝つには力が必要だった。研ぎ澄まされた絶対的な力が。
I see.
つまらん話だ。
You're right.
今さら貴様の血がどうであろうと、そんなことに興味はない。俺が俺以外の何者でもないように、お前はお前でしかない。
I see. So you don't want to kill him. I get it.
Okay.
Okay then. Your answer is so true.
見ろ。
The freedom at last.
何をしている？
I am. After climbing up the ladder, they found themselves in the premise of the Necronin military. The Civil War limited, but it has not yet begun in years at the president of the brace themselves in the conflict. The mood of the tense and the frantic, yet of those servants of Necronin welcome to Akira and Shiki open arms. During the war, it had changed the level against Akira, put on a hold. One of Emma's. Yeah, I don't care what Emma. I don't care. Oh, new scene. The fence in the wind below. The fence of the blow of the desert, and the ridge of the breeze brushed it against his cheek, tousled his hair, and swept to the fairies, and the sand blinked to the alley. Sunset painted the sky is pretty red, and heavy at the end of the summer. The brilliant Christmas sky was too bright, it stares at the naked eyes for long. While it could be concerned of the cold yet, and the wind is bringing the chill of this as it blew by. But this figure claimed to the fence in front of him. Akira gazed into the sky. He was on the rooftop buildings. It hadn't happened inside of it. Headed to look at it using it anymore, and ensured it had been once else inside. But it's night soon. Before the vermilion of the sky swallows to the dark, painting over the completely. 2 years has passed since the fateful day that led to the underground passage to escape the Nukuran camp. After the Civil War ended, the country began to the process of reflection of the recognized the areas of the Shiki closer to deeper disappear after the Akira joined him. And of course, someone stuck up behind, and they realized that it came to the too late. Yeah, hands grabbing in front of behind to cover his mouth. I bet I know. I recognize who killed that guy. Figured out much. Shiki puts the blood of the sword and shifted the gaze towards Akira. The red eyes pierced and then he found and felt the different types of red compared to before him. Shiki was disappearing, trying to search the light, was continually fading into the frustrated himself of doing so. It was nothing it is already knew. It has already decided. Shiki must have known it was the fate of this point of the war. Akira sense in the top of the more or less. The continuously faded of the light. Shiki had been living his rival, driving by his rival, but it is lost to the rival, without accomplishing what he was sent out to do. Ending things in his own, would never, now forever, out of his reach. Having another ever suddenly, coming and crushing down, Shiki guarded and lost his fighting spirit. It was hardly surprising, in his struggle to reclaim what he lost. Shiki used to push himself too hard. Never finding the evenness instead of the change of a single mind, determination. There was no changing that now. He had dispatched the attacker defeated as ever, but Akira noticed something. Even so slightly. The meteor artifact wasn't what it used to be. As for Akira, there are no particular need to stay Shiki's side. You are who are nothing more and nothing less. Those words were attested deep in his chest. Even through the border of the same blood, as Shiki held to the diversity Nano. His words is not being dragged to this simply they were simply a person's called Akira. Somehow, to Akira, the traitor was instead. The solo buster checking the suspects of the murder case, and it turns out it was a test subject of human experiment. Who was Akira anyway? Really? Shiki words and provided his answer for him. Eager his fade away, there is no clear resolution that Akira didn't have any other goals, destinations in mind, which is the case. He decided to remain a witness of the person named Shiki to this very end. Shiki would never try to get close to him. But neither of it says pushing away. I thought it was because Shiki understood everything. He would never confirm it, but it was sure that it was true. Oh, new CG! It's beautiful. Shiki leans against the wall beside the door. His prism eyes gaze upward and reflect to the twilight skies. His eyes were clear as glass, and vivid color of their own, red, with theirs of the glowing red twilight. Casting a sidelong, glancing at him, Akira felt a heavy ache in his chest. Shiki's eyes would become empty like a void. Just like... He stopped himself without thinking about it any further. Whatever it may happen, and intend to accept everything, just as what was. No matter what happens to Tuka for how much he changed. It's just like he was always be himself. That man will always to be Shiki. Night soon took a command to the skies. The dark painted away the twilight, wrapped it in stone around the two, tethering them together. The bond transparent yet unbreakable. The connection of always the guard they turned to the scenes of dark color of that gentle night. Well, I guess that's what it is. So then the context of the ending was Shiki's ending number 2. His different ending in the uncut version, he was in a wheelchair, become vegetable. Which of these he's a good end? So I got the question mark ending. Ending number 2. It's not a bad end. I got a second ending. So, I think I had to call it GG for that.